Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Tondel New podcast. Joining us today for a very special episode where we talk about content creation, especially in these uncertain times with a pandemic going on, is Erica Boey, creator of Bouncing Board. Erica, say hi.
Hi, I'm Erica. It's really great to be here today.
All right, so Erica, could you give us like a little background about yourself?
Um, okay. I'm Erica. I'm 20. I'm currently a college student. Yeah. I like public speaking. Always been a public speaker ever since I was a kid. I enjoy debating. My hobbies are definitely watching anime and hanging out with my friends and family. Yeah. Is that a good
All
enough
right.
background?
Well, it's more than enough. It does say a lot about your personality, especially watching anime. So, Erica, tell me more about Bouncing Board. I've watched a bit of Bouncing Board. I'm sure the rest of us have probably seen a little bit of like your episodes as well. So, what was your like main inspiration behind starting the channel?
I think the main inspiration was I've always wanted to be a content creator during high school. I've always wanted to start YouTube, but I never really knew what I wanted to YouTube on. But I think the biggest inspiration for me for starting a channel like that was as an extrovert, I really felt that staying indoors and being in MCO really took away the opportunity for me to make friends and branch out my social circle during the pandemic and uni. This is my first year of college/uni, and it was supposed to be a fruitful year for me in terms of making new connections. And a lot of my friends and I didn't have that chance, and I thought, why not I create a platform where young people could come in and share their thoughts and views on certain topics, where it will be a safe space for everyone to express their views while allowing them to branch out their social circle. So I came up with the idea of bouncing board, and my dad was the one who actually helped me come up with the name, because it's like you're bouncing from different boards of ideas from one another. So I decided, yeah, that was pretty much the idea of how this channel came about, to make meaningful connections, to help others make meaningful connections. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that
So, what type of content do you produce on
Oh,
Bouncing Board?
I usually what we do here is the content we produce is mainly like human centric content, where it sort of like touches on things about our everyday lives as young people. So we gather a group of four friends, oh no, not four friends, four strangers, and we just allow them to talk about questions. It's sort of like what you guys do here, like a podcast ish, but there's a lot more of like a visual element to it, where it's about capturing the viewers reactions and seeing that sort of thing lah. That's the content is basically human centric
Yeah, we all
topics.
have
Yeah.
anxiety. We
Yeah.
can't show our faces. It's ridiculous. We're not
No.
ready for face cams. Not like you. I
Sorry.
applaud you for that, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess like when there's a pandemic, right? Ideally, you would want to have a channel where you could like get four strangers to sit down and you know actually be together and mingle because in a social setting things may be different than how they are online, right?
Yeah, most
So
definitely.
would you have done anything different with this channel had there not been an MCO?
I think the I that's a really good question, because I feel that bouncing board would not have happened because of MCO. I don't think I would have the time or even like think about it, because it's, after all, it's a high school dream of mine. So I think if I really started doing a YouTube channel, it would be totally different content from this. It would be like probably a very typical college YouTube sort of thing. And yeah, I think that would be the biggest difference. So MCO was really the reason why bouncing board came to my mind. Yeah.
So before we started recording, we had a little chit chat with Erica, and she basically asked the question, how did Tondal Titnu start? As a podcast and stuff. So I'm just going to give a brief explanation. So I was a public speaker. I still am. I just don't do it as much. And Rishon is a national level debater. He's really good. Yada yada yada. He's a god. Okay. So we were just sitting there doing nothing with something that we were somewhat talented of. So we decided, why not start a podcast where we could use our ability to give people more content to listen to. And also we're really into comedy. So we make the podcast a lot more satirical anytime we can. So the listeners like that. And also the weebs. We have a lot of weeb traction and we love all the weebs. So weebs, you're welcome here. This is family for you. We have Hanan, she's a weeb. She denies it, but she's a weeb. Okay.
Don't be ashamed of being a weeb, guys. It's a great thing to be proud of. For
Yeah.
me
Wait.
personally.
You guys call me a wee before debater. That doesn't sound right to me. I'm not a wee.
That does. No. You are. You can stop denying it. Just accept who you are. You're a weeb.
Leave me alone, dude.
Okay, moving on from that. So I guess another reason as to why we and why you, Erica, is like we're very comfortable with doing this kind of media is due to our background as public speakers and debaters. So would you like to talk about your experiences in public speaking / debating?
Sure. I mean, I've had more experiences with public speaking than debating. Debating only became a very big interest of mine during my later days in high school, but I've always been a public speaker ever since I was 12. My parents always told me I had the gift of the gab when I was very young because I was always talkative, very chatty, also very opinionated. So I think my first public speaking experience was actually my graduation speech when I was 6 for my kindergarten. And I think I never had stage fright. I never feared, talking in front of people. So I think I really enjoyed it, and public speaking really became a part of my life. I went for my first public speaking like the official public speaking competition when I was 12. And, it really allowed me to not only, and, to enjoy what I like to do, which is speaking, but it also allowed me to learn a lot more about the world. It was through public speaking where I went to research or read a lot more on the newspaper, and I started being more aware of social issues, like when it came to gender inequality, racism, the LGBTQ plus community being discriminated. Public speaking really opened my eyes to that sort of thing. But what really amplified my sort of political awakening, or like my drive to want to speak up for people or allow people to speak up, was through debating, because that's where you realize, there are going to be two spectrums of things, and there are people fighting for things that fighting for things that they don't have yet. And so that's why I think debating was what really amplified things for me. It really allowed me to build my political stance in that sense. And yeah, so I really enjoy these two hobbies, or I would like to call them a sport, because it does take a lot of effort, it does take a lot of dedication and
It is
sweat
very
and
competitive
tears.
as well, isn't it?
It really is. So that's how I really came to be. I mean, I would love to be a better debater than I am now, and I would love to read more. So it definitely has you have to put in a lot of hard work and dedication, but it's really enjoyable, and I love learning a lot. I love learning about the new things about this society. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Kishore, Hanan, as ex or maybe current public speakers and debaters yourselves, your thoughts?
Right, I have a question. Erica, do you use a script when you do
No.
public speaking? Do you have a prepared speech?
I mean, script wise, I think when I was younger, I used to, obviously I would write one with my dad. My dad is like the backbone of my public speaking career, you could say. Like I would use a script last time, but nowadays I sort of it's less about the script and more about speaking from your heart. So you have like a draft, but you put the words together because you know and you're passionate about what you're talking about. So it just comes out naturally for me sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you feel that way too. Do you feel that way as a public
Oh,
speaker?
I'm wacky. Rishwan knows.
So
So here's a
Kishore,
quick story.
I think you like to talk about our last public speaking tournament together. Something
Yeah.
really interesting happened.
So my style of public speaking is really wacky. I just pants. I just say what I want to say. I don't like scripts. I don't like specific talking points. Whatever that I think about, I just say it because I
Wow.
trust in myself that knowing that what I'm going to say is going to be right, and it's my opinion that I'm just voicing out to other people. So it is very weird in a way. So let me just give you an example, right? So me and Rishwan were at the MNPSC 2019, a Malaysian National Public Speaking Competition by Nose Academy Malaysia. So I made it to the finals, and I got second place because the judges were trash. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying. Right, I gave such a performance. So this is what I did, right? I went up on stage and I took off my shoes and I
Wow.
stood there with my socks and I put my shoes in like the center of the stage, and then I pointed to it and then I said, look at these shoes. You know what I see? This is a memento for the day that this man came onto the stage and took off his shoes just to prove his point in front of everyone. And then I just started making fun of everyone and how people just like to use prepared speeches for public speaking. And then I said that it's not from the heart. And I definitely wounded a lot of people. It was very funny because I had my shoes off the entire time. And then when I went and to receive the award, even the judges were like, keep your shoes on for this one. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm not going to go that far. So yeah, I have had that weird way of doing public speaking for
I don't
quite
think
a
it's
long time.
weird. I don't think it's weird. It's more of like it's your thing, you know. Every speaker
Yeah,
has
it's a style.
it's a style, and I think you should
Yeah.
really embrace it because not a lot of people have that talent to be able to go on stage totally
Yeah.
with no script, you know. So kudos to you, my dude, for taking off your shoes and being a total badass. Okay, that's pretty badass.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. A part of me feels so dumb, but a part of me feels like, so they actually thought that this was impressive. And I was
It
like,
is.
okay.
I have like a
It really
similar
depends.
experience because like I mean I have the script, but I went on stage with my hands cuffed before. I think that was one of my I think a very prominent moment in my public speaking career, which was the Sunway Oxford and Cambridge public speaking competition. I also placed second, so I understand what you
That's
mean.
good.
Yeah, but I understand the tinge of salt that comes with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
More like a bottle.
Yeah, salt water, seawater.
Yeah,
So
seawater.
yeah, seawater. So I went on stage with like cuffs, and I think using a prop is always something very risky. But the topic was about freedom versus captivity, and I talked about how sometimes we put ourselves in a cage and we just throw away the key. So that's what I sort of talked about, you know.
Using a prop. Okay, that's
Yeah.
another story. Rishwan knows this as well.
This was really interesting because right after this last MNPSC tournament that Kishore went to, he represented our school in the district tournament and placed second. So apparently, like the person who got first place, according to the judges, tied with him on points, but Kishore got docked a point because he was using a prop.
Maybe that's why too, because they were
No,
like
but guess what? Do you know what the prop was?
the
Like, we
shoes.
weren't allowed to bring anything. you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like this was an impromptu speech for the final round. So it was, you have to create a speech out of the phrase, to err is human, to what is forgive? I forgot that quote. Yeah, it's so irrelevant. Okay, yeah. So it's about that. And it's basically talking about how humans should forgive each other. And in the waiting room, right? They
Mm-hmm.
give you a dictionary and they give
Right.
you a piece of paper just for you to jot down whatever that you want. And you can use that piece of paper, like refer to it, like all of your points during the speech. So here's what I did, right? I don't like writing down points. I just like saying what I want to say, right? So I thought of a way to use that piece of paper. I basically drew a circle and I colored it, you know. Then I went up on stage, and when I was doing my speech, I held up the paper in front of everyone and I told everyone, look at this paper. What do you see? And then I said, most of you probably see this giant black circle in the center of the paper. But what you're not seeing is all of this white border that's outside of that circle. It's
Wow.
just human nature to focus on someone's flaws. You have to look at the wider picture, you know? And I conveyed that message with that piece of paper, with that circle. You know, everyone thought that I was gonna win because no one did that. And then the judges were like, oh no, he used a prop.
Oh
Like, what?
no.
You didn't even hand me a prop. Damn it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ayo.
Yeah, I know.
You can
It's
just
sad.
testify
I
to
don't know.
how you can just testify to how different people's opinions are in, like, different
In the
competitions and
way,
different
yeah.
realms.
Mm.
It's just public speaking has been so set in stone. It doesn't really bring in these new styles. People are not willing to accept something that they see. It's impressive, but then but like following the rules and regulations, they
Mm.
just, you know, they flunk at that.
Yeah.
It's sad. So that's why content creation is a lot more free for me and Richmond.
Yeah, I do get where you're coming from when it comes to content creation having its own freedom there, because
Yeah,
you can really do anything, and like people will judge you, but you don't have like a set of rules that you have to follow, because
exactly. Yes.
evidently everybody's audience and like everybody the audience's preferences on what they like is so different and it's so subjective. So you can do what you love, and those that love you will follow you, and those that don't will just avoid you. I feel that's how content creation is like. Yeah. I don't know if that applies with you guys too, but for a fairly new content creator, that's how I feel.
Yeah, it does. It's like not everyone will like what you put out, especially for Thandal Tidno. There's been like a lot of episodes where the commentary is a little bit more edgy than the
Mm.
other episodes, especially for like the anime ones. Like, just for an example, I hate Noblesse. That anime, it sucks for me. But I know that there's people who like it, even though I condemn it to hell.
Mm.
So it may be a differing opinion, but hopefully they can rationalize with my points,
Mm.
And we
Yeah,
just
I mean,
hope for that, I guess.
I guess so, because it's always good to have for me personally, I always feel that it's good to have a bit of controversy in your content. Because if everybody were to put up the same answers for certain things, then wouldn't everybody's content be a bit stale? So it's good to have like a jarring opinion, and then you also can garner a lot of people's attention. And some people might, take into consideration what this person's saying is kind of relevant. The points are kind of there, but this I also have my own personal preference. So like it's good to have a bit of controversy. Like especially for me as a content creator who works with different people. obviously you're going to meet people of different ideas and opinions or stances. So what I have to be really mindful of is to keep an open mind and to be unbiased when I'm editing my videos, because I know there are definitely some things I like a bit more and some things I think, wow, this is really meta to me, while other things are like, don't really agree with him, so should I put it in? So that's kind of like that sort of mindset sometimes, but I have to try to like filter that out, because at the end of the day you want to be as holistic as possible in that sense, for me lah, personally.
I mean, in society, right, we're trying to get rid of people's internalized biases, make a world that's more inclusive. So,
Mm.
in your opinion, right, aside from, getting strangers on your YouTube channel and trying to hope that they mesh, what would you say is the most difficult aspect of content creation that you found so far?
For me, oh, this is tough, because I think one of the hardest parts about what I'm creating personally is the coming up with the topics. What do you think would be a topic that would not only be interesting to the audience, but would be a topic that the speakers would enjoy talking about? So it's very, very hard to pinpoint that. So what I am currently doing, I try to avoid, as much as I'm a very political person and I have a lot of political opinions, I try to avoid treading into those waters, because um I want it to, because not everybody is as into politics as you might think they are. We
Yeah,
might be, well aware of things like that because
geographically, we're in Malaysia, and it's not really a progressive country,
Well, it's more
so to
like
say, I
you're woke,
guess.
but you don't know if your audience is as woke as you are, so to
Exactly.
speak.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
we face the same problem, so we just don't talk about that. You don't go into that because it's sensitive
It is very
in a way.
sensitive. It
Yeah.
is. So like I try to avoid doing stuff like that, and I try to really think about topics which can really gouge the audience in terms of their openness in, or like their openness in sharing certain experiences, or if they really have something, if they really have think about things like that. Like for the last episode, the first episode that I did was called Surviving 2020 with the Gen Z. And coming up with that topic surprisingly took me about a month when I was planning it out, because it's your first episode. It has to be something that not only is relatable, but something that also not it's for me, it's like not only relatable, but something that you like to produce also, that you would want to talk about. So you have to really dig deep and monitor what are your friends or the people surrounding you very into. What is something that you feel people can resonate with, but at the same time that it wouldn't be boring and cliche. So these are the type of things that really come into consideration for me when I'm planning out my questions, because you can only have so many topics, and you really want to keep it not only relevant and relatable, but you also want to keep it like, for me, it's like, as a content creator, it's not only producing things that people would love, but it's also something that I would love as well. Like I would love producing, because evidently it's a passion and a hobby. So yeah, that's kind of one of the struggles, lah, Rishvan. Besides clawing people to come in, not clawing is the wrong word, oh my god, more like
You want to
scout.
force people.
Yeah, I don't want to, like, when it comes to scouting people, is also very hard, because how many people would you know that you could scout that would be suitable for a certain episode? For me, scouting is also very difficult. So I would say scouting and creating the questions or storyboarding is a very difficult process. Yep. Yeah.
It's interesting in your case because your whole channel's goal is about getting four strangers on, right? People who
Mm-hmm.
haven't, like, they don't know each other at all. And with a world that's so small, it might be challenging. Like for our podcast, right? Like we have Hanan on regularly to talk about anime.
Mm-hmm.
And we only really managed to like get Hanan on because like she was a close friend of ours. So
Mm.
Hanan, maybe you might want to talk a bit about how you came on the podcast, how you became a regular like contributor to it.
Oh, that's Honestly, I don't really have much to say about it. It was just basically one day, you guys just asked me, hey, you're the local weeb, though I'm not, and asked me to join the
Here we
thing. And
go
I said,
again.
let's not go there. Let's not go there. Okay, not this episode. But yeah, they
Yes,
just
yes.
asked me to join, and I thought it's about anime. Why not? I have nothing else going on in my life, so it was easier because I know these people. So maybe that's what prompted me because I know them. Yeah. And I've been stuck ever since. Can't leave.
Okay, Erica,
Yo.
do you think that some topics are weaker than others? Or do you think that you have the raw capability of turning any topic entertaining?
Oh, this is like okay. I feel like, to me personally, I feel that some topics are weaker than others. Okay, but I feel like it really depends on how I word the questions, like what sort of questions I produce, and also how my speakers approach the questions. That makes a difference between what is a standard okay topic to something that's really out of this world, because I feel that my questions can only do so much because you want to keep it as general, not really general, but as open as possible, like open to interpretation or open to different type of answers as possible, but I feel like it really depends, to me, what really makes the topic good, from a good topic from no what really makes a topic great. It really depends on how the speakers approach the topic, like when I had my first episode. I think one of the speakers got a lot of good feedback, which is my best friend Sharon. She talked about a lot of things that I think a lot of people were surprised to
Yeah, I
hear from a
agree.
yeah
She was
from
pretty
a
good.
yeah, she was good, right? Yeah, you were surprised. It's surprising to hear words like that come out from a young adult. Because she was so eloquent and she could tell that she has done a lot of her reading and that she's well aware about the issues that are going on in the world. So it really takes a speaker. Like if it depends on how the speaker approaches the topic. So that's my answer for me. Like Sharon was really good. That's why a lot of people had a lot of good feedback from her, and yeah, I just hope that future speakers could take, not necessarily be like her, but really don't be afraid about talking about what you're really passionate about. You could tell the difference between somebody who's really passionate about talking about something versus giving a standardized answer that you want to hear. That's my opinion.
Then again, right? And this is going to be a bit of a hard-hitting question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Someone giving a very well thought out, well versed opinion about something doesn't normally equate to being entertaining in general. So how do you fix that problem? And is that a concern for you?
I mean, wow. You're asking me the questions that I haven't even thought about. It's good that I came to this podcast. Okay, get an introspection as a content creator. I feel like, I mean, when for me, because I also add a visual element to creating YouTube and my content, so I would always try to add, probably BGM, like background music, stickers, or like other things to really make what this person is saying pop, because some people are, some people, like, not everybody is as eloquent or as, passionate or, very bubbly when they speak, not everybody is like that. So, but then they do say things that make a lot of sense and are very substantial. It's just that they lack the sort of, the flavor, I would like to call it. So it's important for me to do my best to try to push or, beautify what this person is saying. So during the editing process, that's where I try to make things a bit more interesting. I try to highlight certain key points. So I would say that is a concern of mine because not everybody is as as charismatic and so on and so forth. So it's important that I try my best to highlight my speakers in the best way that I can through my capabilities. Yeah. I- Is that a substantial answer? I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, you're only really doing this to amplify their voices, right? And that's the main goal of like all this content, to get these voices
Exactly.
out there and to get it heard. I mean, to be fair, right? When you talk, if you're like a sort of media that focuses on topics and talking about issues, right? It kind of has a lot of parallels to debating in itself, right? Where you're just thrown a motion and you have to make of it what you will, your previous shared experiences and previous knowledge, and your ability as a speaker is what makes your argument pop, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. It does have that. I can see the parallel now that now you've mentioned it.
Then
It
again, not everyone is up to your skill set, you know?
yeah, that's true. But like instead of debating, it's not more of like creating an like my channel for me. It's not more about creating an argument, but more of letting people find common ground. You know, like even though you might have disagreements and you might share different opinions, but like it also teaches people to be respectful of them. You can't really like you don't necessarily have to start a fight all the time. Sometimes people just have different opinions and you just have to live with it, and sometimes, who knows, maybe in your differences you find common ground as well. And that's what I've sort of noticed in filming my episodes. Like people have different opinions, but they can still agree on other things. So there's no black and white for me when it comes to these type of things. It's always going to be a gray area. Yeah, that's what I would how I would word it. Mm.
Okay, Erica, this is another hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
So, if your channel's focus is to let these voices be heard, for people to find common ground,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, where is the entertainment factor in there? Because I haven't noticed it yet.
Oh, for
Because
me,
anyone can ramble on about anything, but
mm,
not everyone's going to listen.
I think the entertainment factor is for experiences as well. When I've gotten feedback is the reactions. Bouncing board is both a visual and what's the other word for listening? Uh, what do you call it? It's both a visual,
Auditory.
yes, a visual and auditory experience. Because the thing about what makes it a little bit more fun and a bit more entertaining is that the speakers actually see each other and they actually laugh and they watch each other's reactions, and it's very on the spot and impromptu. Like it's raw human emotion, and I think that's the main reason why a lot of my friends quite enjoyed it, and they said that, oh, it didn't feel like 20 minutes at all, because it was in a way a very chill and a very comfortable sort of setting where it felt like a few people were just casually talking about things about life that mattered to them. And it I think the raw human emotion, it's sort of that's the entertainment factor there. You get to see it and you're like, wow, that's really surprising, or that's really sudden, and it's kind of funny also sometimes. So yeah, just humans being authentically themselves, being put under the spot and reacting to things is actually um, a very enjoyable part of the whole process. Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Seeing those people react to each other laughing, I feel like, yeah, it was a bit fun to watch. It was actually quite enjoyable. I liked that the
Thank
most
you.
about the videos. So yeah, I see how the visual aid it really helps with the entertainment factor.
Mm.
So yeah,
Like,
you got that covered.
thank you. I'm trying my best because I'm also a novice editor and stuff like that. So I'm really, really trying my best. It's a lot of work, but you gotta
Yeah,
enjoy the
you're doing
process,
pretty
you
good
know?
actually.
Really? Thank you.
It's
Thank
very
you.
Honestly,
watchable
I liked
content.
it.
Thank you so much. I mean, I was really nervous the night before I was sleep because I was so worried that what if something happened when I uploaded it? What if what if the quality, like the visual quality of it was not good enough, because not everybody can afford like a good webcam. Not everyone can afford a good, a mic system, even with you guys. I'm sure you guys have your own struggles in terms of how you want to put things together without using a lot of money, because we are all struggling in the time of pandemic as well. So I was really, really worried about how it would be received, and if it was watchable or not. I mean, it's obviously still very amateurish and a bit mediocre, but it's with every episode, I think things would improve. So, and with every episode, it's also a new learning process, because you learn from your previous mistakes on previous episodes while you're filming, and yeah, you run into things like that, but you improve, you learn, and then it's all like a very like rewarding experience, I would say. Yeah.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. I like that.
Really,
Yes.
Vishen? You just had to throw that in. God damn it.
It was too good an opportunity. So
Yeah,
Erica,
that window was so clear.
seeing as like you say you're a novice content creator, right? And
Yes.
you enjoy what you're putting out. It's good content. There is an audience. What advice would you give to like other young adults or other people who they're interested in content creation but don't know how or when to get started? What's the first thing you would tell them?
Okay, sorry. I would say the same thing one of my good friends who's also a content creator told me, which is don't think about it too much. And if you have the idea, you should just get it going, because if you drag it out too long, it will always feel like it will never happen. So you have to really try. You have to really take that first step. That first step might be really hard, but that first step is going to make a difference in how you feel about what you're doing, because you can always conceptualize it in your head, but actually doing it is something else altogether. So my advice would be, you know don't hesitate, and don't have like secondary thoughts or doubts. You just have to put yourself out there, and I know it can be very challenging and a bit difficult for some people to put yourself out there, but there are going to be people that are going to support you, and there are going to be people that are going to love your content. So just my advice to them. Just don't worry, be yourself, and just put yourself out there. You have an audience that will reciprocate your passion in that sense, if that makes sense. Oh.
It really does. And it has its benefits not just for like people watching it, but also benefits for people who are actually, do creating the content. Like personally, this podcast is the reason why I'm actually finally into anime. So I see this as a big benefit because like I got to connect with like Hanan and Kishore who introduced me to anime like Attack on Titan, ReZero, and I'm hooked. Like it's a great opportunity for like you yourself to meet new people and explore your own ideas, and you also get to share it with other people, which is always nice.
Exactly. I think that's a really enjoyable process of being a content creator. I don't know if you all feel that way. Is to just see people sort of, learn new things, and also gain little pockets of experiences or new thoughts or new views. I don't know if you
Yeah,
enjoy that, but personally I really
it
do,
is.
because it is very enjoyable, right? Like,
Yeah, especially like for the podcast, especially on Weeb Talk, when we discuss a lot of different anime.
mm-hmm.
Apparently, people have DM me saying that they've watched this anime because they listened to the podcast and because we were talking
Wow.
about it, praising it, you know. So we were
Mm.
like, okay, I'm sorry for converting you to a weeb, but I guess it's good because we're like, I don't know what's the benefit of watching anime, but I guess it's good in a way.
It is it's good. There are so many benefits when it comes to watching anime, okay? Like you're basically experiencing a different culture. It's
I
anime.
guess.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's
But then again,
Japanese
this is a weeb's
culture.
opinion, you know?
No,
So,
I disagree.
oh God.
And as someone who claims they're not a weeb, what do you have to say? Is watching
Yeah, what do
anime
you have to
good?
say to all of these poor, innocent souls that we've converted in the Tongatipu
Uh,
podcast to anime?
well, first of all, it is not a claim; it is a statement. Second of all, I think anime is just like any other shows. It's animated. But in all honesty, I don't get the people who say anime is for children and then go on to talk about Riverdale.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
painful.
is, it is.
Yeah, it is very painful. Anime was never meant for children only. It was meant for people of all ages to enjoy. Maybe not so much for kids sometimes. Yeah, you got anime like even
let's
Hunt. Yeah. You're saying go.
let's allow kids to watch Attack on Titan.
Yeah, and see what the
Wait.
Won't it scar them?
Oh God.
exactly. So that's like I think Hanan is right in that sense. Like it's a way that we can justify like how anime is not just for children, because it really isn't. You know, even Hunter x Hunter is not for children. I would not
Yeah,
recommend
exactly,
for
honestly.
kids. I was watching it with my 9-year-old brother the other day. And I was like, oh, I don't think he should be watching stuff like this, but he's enjoying it, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh my God.
But
That poor child.
But
Oh.
yeah, it's like anime. There's so many different types of like genres and different kinds, so you can't just limit it to one certain thing. You can't just shove it in a box and call it a day. It doesn't work that way,
Exactly.
just like
You're
with normal shows or movies.
spot on, Hanan. Spot on.
So for the people who say that Hunter x Hunter is not for kids, right? Are you just concerned that they're gonna convert the Crollo simping? And then
Oh, no,
they're
no.
gonna hang a picture
That-
of Crollo and then worship him like a god?
My God, Crollo is.
I'm tired of
Crollo
seeing
stands for
Trollo
something
Sims on my For You page.
else.
They need to touch grass.
Yeah,
Oh God, yeah.
but I
Maybe
see
taste it.
why. I mean, I see why though. I mean, Crollo is kind of hot. Not gonna lie, but
He is.
his stands. Oh my God,
His
those
stands
people
are-
It's
are
getting out of
deprived.
hand.
Oh wow.
Wait, we have to
No.
get back to the topic first. Get back to the topic. We'll come back to discuss this on Weep Talk one day if you all would like me
We'll
here.
definitely have Erica back here. To anyone who's
We'll definitely
wondering,
have you.
yeah,
And anyone
we'll
else who's
definitely have
interested to
Erica
be
back for
on,
Weeb Talk.
do reach out. Do reach
Mm.
out.
Yeah,
We'd
sure.
love to have you on and hear your opinions.
Yes.
Which is the
Unless it's too extreme.
Yeah.
We should make it arbitrary for them to admit that they're weeb before they come on the podcast.
that was one
to talk about
mistake
Weeb
we're
Talk?
not gonna repeat.
Yeah.
I am the best mistake you guys have ever made. Just to be
And
clear.
we're glad. We're very glad.
Yeah. We're glad. We're glad. Okay, Erica, this is another hard-hitting question.
Okay.
There's been a lot of those.
Yeah.
I could only think of the hard-hitting ones. I'm on a roll today. Okay.
All right.
So when you think about a specific topic, right? How
Mhm.
sure are you that your speakers are going to be well informed enough to speak about that topic very well?
Actually, to be
Do you have
fair,
to pick and choose,
yes.
or
How it
you actually
happens?
do?
Yeah, because I believe in screening people in a sense that because my stepmom, she does internet security, so like I think moving forward with bouncing board episodes, I want to make it as interactive as possible in the sense that okay, after every episode each speaker will be given an opportunity to recommend somebody that they feel would fit in to the episode. And besides that, I also really want to open like a Google form or like a platform where people can actually sign up to be a part of, if they want to share their thoughts on things. And yeah, they will have to give that a bit of like insight to who they are as a person, if they're a student. Okay, if they're a student, what sort of student are they, what are their interests, their hobbies. So for now, since Bouncing Board is still a fairly new community and a fairly new platform, I really try to screen people or find people that I feel would work for a certain topic, in a sense. Not really work, but it's like, oh, they might be able to resonate with it. So we have, like, for the upcoming episode that we'll be releasing next Friday, I was like, okay, I want to do an episode where dudes all from different backgrounds come together to share their opinions on what it's like to be a dude in the a modern 21st century. I mean, like, being a dude back then versus being a dude now is totally different. The growing up
Oh
environment,
God,
right?
that
Why?
is stepping on fire. You're gonna have some
Uh,
whiny children on the if you're not careful.
oh, I filmed the episode already. That's why I was like, I didn't really care about if they were whiny children or not. What I cared about
Yeah,
is,
true.
who they are as individuals. Like, okay, I have a guy that was who is more sporty, a very athletic sort of dude, and then I have a guy who is also a public speaker and a person that like to do emceeing. And then I had people who some a bit more in touch with their Chinese roots, who did sort of like, it's who was into Chinese performing arts, and then these different types of people from different backgrounds. It's not really about how they would like cater to that specific topic, but it's more about, I mean, it's like, it's really simple. Like, what does it mean to be like a guy to you in the 21st century? What are the differences? I'm pretty sure people from these different backgrounds, even though they're different, they would still be able to relate to a topic like that, because number one, they're all Gen Z dudes of the modern 21st century. So you just have to think about it in that way. I'm also filming another episode next Sunday, but I'm not going to really disclose anything much yet. But it's also going to be around it's a topic where I think a lot of young people can relate to, something to do with relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not really about like yeah, it's not
Yeah, but
really
like here's the thing though.
yeah.
These people could be Gen Z and they come from completely different backgrounds, right?
Exactly.
But it's more of a personality based screening that you're doing towards them, right? If
I
you
mean,
think that their personality is suitable for like the opinions that they're gonna give, and you can kind of estimate in your head that it's not gonna be anything too extreme.
oh, not
Do you
really
do that?
though. No, no, no. For me, it's like for example, the guy who was in the first episode, Subang, who is also my tech guy. I was really
Mhm.
surprised with the opinions he gave, because I did not expect somebody to go to that extent. When it came to like justifying why
Yeah.
COVID-19 is awesome, when I said like inherent, like awesome with exclamation with the two commas. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like I really don't, it's not really about the personality to me. It's just, for me, it's mainly like who the background lah. And I've also gotten rejected by a few people when it came to like asking them to be on camera or like to express their views. So not everybody is super into it, and like in my mind I'll be like, maybe this person would be kind of cool, he or she might want to share their opinions. But you still have people that would be like, no lah, don't want lah, shy lah, so it's, you never know. It's very unpredictable when it comes to people, for me, when it comes to scouting my speakers in that sense, because um you never know what sort of what's going on in people's heads. Yeah, honestly, you really don't know. They might be the devil's advocate in some topics, or they might be, very very super suddenly you didn't expect them to be so passionate about something. So I'm not trying to like, keep it a certain way, but obviously for the first few episodes, because the you want to it's still a very small channel, so I'm just trying to find people that I feel that are okay with talking on camera about their opinions. Yeah. That's the main goal. Finding people who are comfortable with being recorded and talking about their opinions on camera. Yeah. Actually,
That's basically the format. I
Yeah,
figured it
that's
out
the
for you.
format. Yeah. Yeah, for now it's really like this. Really.
I could understand why. Like even Thundel did know we actually did think about using cams just because it would be a lot more entertaining to see our reactions while we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
But none of us could do it because it just like we have anxiety. We just don't like to show our faces, which is kind of ironic because we're all debaters and public speakers.
I mean, it's a different thing lah. Showing your face versus like showing your face on camera versus being able to talk like this.
Yeah,
There's always a
because
sense
you're more
of
judge worthy
yeah,
when you show your face.
exactly. It takes a
So
lot
you're
of
trying to
courage.
avoid that. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. I mean,
Then again, if you're appealing, it could go either way. Actually, it could go. They think that you're not visually appealing,
Highly
or
depends
they
on
could
people's
think that
taste,
you're.
though. Even your
Yeah.
voice
Yeah, it
can be
does.
appealing to someone, but it can be a complete turn off to someone else.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is just finding the crowd that you want to find. Like your first episode on Bouncing Board, it has over 250 views, right?
Yeah,
Views.
I was quite surprised. I thought I was really, really quite surprised that it garnered like
But the sub
250.
count is only at 30 plus, right? And that's kind of normal because
It
there are
is.
some people who will stick with you and some people who are only coming there for a specific episode. It's the same thing with the podcast. The podcast has like over 14 episodes right now, but some have more viewers than the others. And it's normal.
It tends to be the interviews.
Yeah,
Mm.
the interviews normally garner more attention. Well, the opinionated stuff really is just subjective to people who actually like the content that we produce.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. I genuinely think that that's how it's like. My one of my biggest inspirations for opening two of them actually is one of them is Thariah Moronesi and another one is Jubilee. And I feel like, with Jubilee especially, there are some topics that I am more interested in than others. So like middle ground is something that I would for sure watch no matter what. But there are other stuff not so much. So I feel like it's the same with like your Tondel Tenue and for bouncing board as well. Because some topics may really cater to some people, while others would be like, maybe not so much. But you'll never know when it comes to this type of thing. For me lah. Yeah.
I can really see the parallels between middle ground and bouncing board, to be honest. Like finding a middle ground between people. But yours is a very like unique take on it, Like it's for people, it's done virtually. It's a unique take on it and it's very appealing.
Thank you. Because
So
I didn't want go on.
like for those of you listening, you've probably heard Erica talk about her episodes. Do watch Bouncing Boards. Link will be in the episode bio. We will promote it. So do watch it. It's very interesting and you'll gain a new perspective.
It is truly a
watching
good
it.
experience. Trust me, I've watched it. And it's Kishore Ramis approved, okay? To all
Oh
my
my God,
followers on
thank
Instagram, to all of my friends. Yeah. If you like my opinions, trust me, Bouncing Board is good.
Thank you, and I promise to make sure that the channel will only move upwards. I mean, there'll definitely be mistakes on the way, but we really strive to be a platform that is inclusive of different opinions, and that it's fun and it's a safe space for people to share their thoughts. We that's the aim lah, but it's with filming and like finding people, things can be so unpredictable. That's why it's important that
Exactly.
your pre-production has to be done very well. For my as a YouTube channel like
Your
this,
end, yeah.
it has to be done very
Exactly.
very meticulously in that sense.
We see the problems that you're suffering. Like for the podcast, it's not really a problem because it's just the four of us. We just pick we don't even pick a specific topic. We just pick like a theme and then just try and stick inside that ballpark and just give our opinions, just talk about it, rant about it. Try and keep it satirical, I guess.
Because we've
Mm.
honestly faced issues like trying to get people on this podcast, right? Because a
Right,
lot of
right.
people
Not
don't want,
yeah, not a lot of
a lot of
people.
people in our circle aren't really like, we don't have the camera aspect, we
Confident
don't have the visual
speakers.
aspect. Yes,
Mm,
exactly.
mm,
Which is actually why
There's
our first
been
episode was
quite a
titled
lot of
How to
people who
Improve Your
aren't.
English.
mm.
Because I think, Kishore, that's what you wanted to appeal to, right? When we started it.
Yeah, at first, because a lot of people, especially at my school, really, I wouldn't say were bad at English. They were just subpar at it.
Mm-hmm.
So they really wanted some advice and stuff like that. So I told Rishan about it. I was like, okay, so how about we just make a podcast episode about this, make it the first episode. Yeah, a lot of
Mm.
people really like that because they really
Ah,
wanted to know, because it's coming from a perspective of a native speaker for both of us, because we're both native speakers. So I think a
I
lot of people learned
see.
a lot from that. Like
That's
people think
really
that we
good.
learn. It's like I didn't know what a verb was until I was from 5. Like that's how disconnected I was from the English subject, and
Mm.
like
Yet it didn't
giving
matter
people
much.
my what's that?
That's not to say that you don't need to know your basics, but like it wasn't
Yeah,
something that people look for. Like people
I'm
would
giving
say
my
that you were
point
good
of
Exactly.
at
view.
English.
Mm.
Because
Totally
my
get
point of
that.
view as a native speaker is completely different than someone who's learning English as a second language.
Exactly.
So
I
people
totally
learned a
agree
lot
with
from
you.
that. Yeah.
That's so good. Such a good initiative. Good on you. Good on Tondilton you for doing that. Yes.
No, wait, what? Bouncing Pot did the same thing. What?
No, I mean it's different, because it's so when you guys released your first episode, I was like, huh, because I'm a native speaker as well. I'm Chinese, but my family also I'm the first generation in my family to learn how to speak Mandarin. So it was like I understand like where you're coming from as a native speaker. Speaking English is different. The way you learn it is different. So like I was quite like how to improve your English. I don't know if that will apply to me or not lah. That's what I was thinking. But then when you brought up like what you and Richmond said just now, I was like, you're totally right, because not everybody has English as their native language, and it's different when it comes to people who are learning it, like learning English from another perspective. So yeah, I thought it was like I think it's really really niche, and it has a very it has a very I don't know how to say, I don't know how to put this to words, but it's very thoughtful of y'all in that sense, and I think it's very very good. So yes,
Oh, I
go
didn't
Tondo
appreciate
Tenure.
that.
Very very
Yeah,
It was
we
thoughtful.
actually.
it was more about us going. We had an audience in mind, and we're going for that. And I think I can
Mm,
see that in a lot of episodes that content creators do. They try to
mm,
appeal to their main audience, but they do niche episodes to branch out to another audience that may not have like seen
Exactly,
them or been
exactly.
interested in them previously, but
yeah.
got into it.
I think the
Mm.
most important thing is that the core of what you're doing must always be the same. Like for Tandel Tikno, right? Even though the first episode was appealing to one crowd,
Mm-hmm.
the core of Tandel Tikno is always unscripted, not untitled, literally talk about anything that we want. And we
Mm.
want to keep it that way, even though we have these niche episodes here and there, which help promote the channel, which help grow this community.
Right.
The community that we want to grow need to be like-minded individuals.
But
Mm.
that's not to say different opinions are not okay. But it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's
we
the
try to
thing.
be as inclusive as possible, which sounds a lot like
Exactly.
your goals as well.
Mm.
It's
Credit
not
where it's due.
forcing someone to like your stuff. If they
Mm.
like it, they can, follow. But if they
Mm.
don't, it's okay. It's not really a
Mm.
problem.
And
Yeah,
as
and I
content creators, we put it out there.
Yeah,
mm,
exactly. That's our only job.
that's great. I think we
Hopefully, you feel
have
the
the
same way.
I do. That's the whole idea. Because another thing that I was thinking about, you see, like in the US, we have people like Jubilee and these type of channels like
Yeah,
what's the other channel called? The Cut. Channels like that.
yeah.
That in the Western community, there's so many. But then when you come to places like Southeast Asia, right? It's a more collectivist sort of culture here. You don't really see
A whole lot of differing
mm,
opinions.
yeah, so I want, and I feel like especially in Malaysia, I feel that young people deserve to have a voice, and young people are not stupid people anymore. People are getting more and more educated. And I feel that they should have a platform to express their thoughts because, you know, people, I feel like we're not idiots, I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but I feel that young people have a lot of very mature ways of thinking as well that I think the older generation in this country does not know how to appreciate yet. I know what I'm saying might be a bit controversial, but if you read the news, so I also want Bouncing Board to be a platform to, like, I don't know if it's the same for Tondale Tenue, but I want Bouncing Board to be a platform where it showcases like the intellectual aspect and the maturity aspect of what young people really have in store for us,
So that
And I
is the
think,
core, right?
yeah, that
Of the
is the
channel.
core. Yeah. Young people just expressing their thoughts unapologetically in that sense, because I'm really sure there are a lot of people in Southeast Asia who have a lot of opinions, but because of our Asian collectivist culture, it's really a culture thing where we are told to respect the elderly, we are told to not speak back, we are told to you know conform to certain things, and I don't think it should always be that way. So I want young people to just have a platform where they can really just share their thoughts amongst young people and find resonance in one another. Yeah. Oh my god, I think what I said just now quite controversial, but you know sometimes a
Don't
bit
worry about it.
sorry, Richmond, if it's a bit controversial.
Good.
Cannot help it
Okay.
sometimes.
I have one last question for you
Yes.
before we end this episode. It's been a great episode. We learned a lot of stuff.
Really?
So, what do you have a question for us, the people of Tondale, before we end the episode? Like one thing that you really want to ask us.
Okay, let me. One thing that I would really like to ask a up and coming podcast
Content
channel.
creator, yeah.
Yeah, podcast. Because podcast, um, yeah. What is the difference? Okay, between besides the visual aspect, the better one? Because okay, podcasting is something that I think is on the rise, but it's a very underrated sort of way of content creation.
Yeah.
So as podcasters, what do you think makes your channel stand out from other podcasts in that sense?
Well, in a sense, I guess the community really makes a difference. You see, every podcast may vary based on their themes, their topics, but for us, it's all about the community. We just want to build the community, and then we go from there because we are doing this for the people. We're not doing this for ourselves. Maybe in the long term, it will bring benefit for us as the channel keeps growing. But like,
Right.
the main thing to keep in mind is the viewers, because we want them to stay with us. We want our community to be with us. So it's really just appealing to the community based on what they want, which is why we've talked. Originally, anime wasn't even supposed to be a series, but because Weep Talk had a following, so we turned it into Weep Talk. We made that entire series. We adapt to what our community wants and what they like. So yeah, we appreciate all of them. Thank you, Thunderted New community.
Yeah. Yes, awesome. I feel like it's so good lah. I mean, having a community is very, very good as a content creator. If you have your little
Yes.
following, it does mean so much to you. I bet.
Yeah, to you as well.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Of course. I'm really,
We all
really,
feel
really
the same
happy.
way.
We all feel the same way. Little content creators.
Yeah.
Just grateful that there are people there who like want to listen to what we have to say, that we provide value to
Exactly.
them. It's very
Exactly.
meaningful, and we appreciate all of you listening and watching our content.
Both from Bouncing Board and from
Mm.
Thunderted New.
Yes.
Trust me, Erica appreciates you just as much.
I do, okay? Genuinely, I do. It really warms your heart, and it really
Listen to
it,
this, bouncing board people. A
I
message
mean,
to your viewers, Erica.
a
Say
message
it
to
right
my
now.
okay. I mean, thank you guys for helping me fulfill my or giving me some hope in fulfilling my dream, my high school dream of opening a YouTube channel. You know, not everybody has good days, and I'm not everybody is necessarily happy all the time, and we know that reality is not a very beautiful place sometimes, but it's the people that support us, and it's the people that enjoy our content and actually take the time to watch a 20-minute episode or a 1 hour plus podcast. It's the people like that that really bring us a lot of joy, and these are the little moments that make us understand why we're doing this, and it reaffirms our beliefs in why we think doing this is good for our community. So thank you so much for just supporting us, because it does mean a lot to us. We put a lot of effort into things, and to be able to have people love us and want to help us grow is a very, very beautiful thing about humanity and the community. Yeah. Wow.
All right. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Tondel Tidu podcast. The links to Bouncing Board will be in the description, and we'll tag it, we'll promote it, show Erica some love. She clearly puts a lot of effort into her videos, and we have to make sure that it pays off. Everyone that's listening to this, are you serious? Have you not watched Bouncing Board? What's wrong with you? You call yourself human? It is a God-given right to every citizen in Malaysia that we are legally obligated to watch Bouncing Board. So, with that being said, thank you all for listening to this episode. I'm sorry for the over exaggeration. Then again,
Uh,
I know you guys like it.
to
Erica, any
my
last words?
Yes, to my viewers who will listen to this podcast, please listen to Tondel Tenu. They are in a very, very fun, chill, and very insightful group of individuals who just want to make a world a better place. So you are also obligated to get into the podcast trend and listen to Tondel Tenu. Yeah.
Oh, good God.
We
We're gonna
appreciate you
sue
on your
all of
show,
them.
Erica.
Yeah. Thanks, Erica.
No worries.
Thank you for
Hopefully,
coming
we
on.
can have you
We
back
really
for like
appreciate it.
Weep Talk,
Yeah,
possibly.
so to our viewers who really like Erica, she's definitely gonna come back on. She's gonna come back on for Weep Talk. Don't worry. Hanan and her have a lot to discuss. Hanan's literally oozing at the mouth thinking about all the topics that she wanna talk about. So yeah. Other than that, thank you all so much for listening again, and goodbye.